All right, let's go out to Colorado Springs. Michelle Malkin joins us this Thursday morning, as she does every Thursday. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Well, you know, he knew going in there would probably be some awkward moments, Mitt Romney, when he appeared before the NAACP, because they did support the other guy, his opponent, by 96%. What did you make of the fact that when he talked about repealing Obamacare, he got booed?
Well, I thought it was obnoxious for the audience to do that. I understand from Congressman Emmanuel Cleaver, that apparently it's racist to criticize the president at all, but somehow it's fine to receive a guest, an invited guest, the way that that booing audience did. It was interesting watching this speech and being plugged into Twitter at the same time. Initially, I thought he could have handled it better, but you know, a lot of folks on the right who have a diverse opinion of Romney thought that he handled it really well, and I think you've got to give him a huge amount of credit for going into such a loaded lion's den. And it raises the question of when Barack Obama is ever going to step outside his thick protected bubble and do anything at all similar to this. That's what I'd like to see.
Well, it also raises the question about why the President Obama is not going to the NAACP convention. Instead, today, he's sending Vice President Joe Biden. I want to go back, though, for a minute to Congressman Cleaver. He's Congressional Black Caucus chair. Originally, Michelle, he gave Mitt Romney an A for showing up, for effort, for showing up at the end. And you have to keep this in mind, too. What would have happened? Mitt Romney was kind of in a box. What would have happened if he didn't accept the invitation? That could have been a worse situation. But let's listen to Congressman Cleaver about what his thoughts were about the booing.
I didn't support the booing. I think that was inappropriate, but predictable when you start saying I'm going to eliminate something that the African American community has embraced in numbers larger than any other component of the American society. He should never have gone there in the first place.
So do you agree with that? Do you think that he should not have brought up the fact that he would repeal Obamacare to avoid being booed?
What Congressman Cleaver is basically saying is that he's demanding that Romney have pandered to this audience. And let's back up a little bit more, because I disagree with another premise that he stated, and that is that the African American community as a whole, as a collective, supported Obamacare. And I think what Romney did effectively, after he paused a bit and let them do their boos and unleash all that, was try to persuade them with facts, with information, that in fact this is something that does not benefit either the African American community or Americans unhyphenated at all.
That's right.
Michelle, what the mainstream media wasn't talking about was the fact that Governor Romney was also cheered during that speech about his support for traditional marriage. Let's take a look at that and comment on it, please.
As president, I will promote strong families and I will defend traditional marriage.
What's your reaction to that, Michelle?
Well, luckily, we do have things like social media and alternative media that highlighted the fact that there was that applause in places like Fox News, where you saw it, where you didn't, on other traditional media stations. And I think it highlights something that the Democrats and that these people at the NAACP don't want you to know. It's the great big secret that, in fact, people in the African American community and African American church leaders support traditional marriage, and there's nothing racist or bigoted about it.
Yeah, except that we've had them on the show here, many of them, to say that they're still going to vote for President Obama, even though they totally disagree with him on the whole gay marriage situation.
He also got applause
it's that
for charter schools and also the Keystone Pipeline as well. So he did get, and he had to go, because had he turned down the invitation, you know, they would have spun it like, look, he's racist because he didn't go. All right, one other thing we want to talk to you a little bit about today is the United Nations over on the east side of Manhattan. They're always brewing up something. Now, apparently, they're working on a treaty, Michelle Malkin, that would expose U.S. gun owners' records to foreign governments. Huh?
Yes. Yeah. Well, of course, self-defense and the right to bear arms are uniquely American rights, and they've always been under assault, not just domestically, but by transnationalists around the world. And this is just the latest usurpation of our sovereignty by the UN. If you couple this along with this push by the Democrats now to pass the Lost Treaty, where they want to usurp our water rights and sea rights as well, it's a huge threat. And it has galvanized the Second Amendment activists in a way that we haven't seen before. And hopefully people in Capitol Hill are listening.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's talk a little bit about this, because it was surprising to me. Brad Pitt's mom, she lives in the Midwest. She apparently wrote into her local newspaper in support, or actually against, President Obama. You got from that, through deduction, that she would support Mitt Romney. And she's now getting death threats for supporting Mitt Romney. What do you make of that?
It exposes the repressive tolerance, so-called tolerance, of much of the left, and particularly the Hollywood left. At my Twitter curation site, twitchy.com, we highlighted a lot of these disgusting, vile threats, attacks, ad hominem profanities that were leveled at Mrs. Pitt. It's the subject of my column, which you can read at MichelleMalkin.com. And I've covered this issue over a number of years, of the so-called civility police who have a blind eye when it's turned on people who are expressing dissident views. And in this case, of course, Mrs. Pitt is simply expressing political views that are held by, about half the country. And she specifically supported, it wasn't just by deduction, Mitt Romney. And what she was trying to do was show tolerance and say, you know what, I know there are a lot of Christians out there who have concerns about him, but they shouldn't, because he is somebody who has business experience, she cited, as well as his support for pro-life policies and traditional marriage.
Exactly. And it puts Brad Pitt, famous movie star, in a tough spot, because you got to figure he supports the President of the United States. But at the same time, President, my mom. He went to support his mom.
Yeah.
That's what he
sure
said.
did.
Enough said. Yes. When you involve mom, it's just kind of, that's it, right?
And Brad Pitt, right?
There you go.
All right, Michelle, have a fantastic weekend.
Great day, Michelle.
Thanks, you too.
Good to see you.